Hey everyone, it's Megan from Bookish Delights. And this video is my April wrap up. So I'm going to start off with my physical books first. I read a total of 6 books this month. 3 of them were physical copies and others were audiobooks. So the first one is Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson, and this was actually my TBR jar pick for, I don't think it was for April. I think this was for my March TBR jar pick, and I started reading it in March, so I just continued reading it in April, and I finished it, and I really enjoyed this book. I gave this book a 3.5 stars. I would have given it more, but it did take me a little while to get into the book. It was a little slow going, but once it got towards the middle, it kind of picked up the pace a little bit. It was a nice little read. I liked it. It is kind of like a chunky book, but it didn't take me too long to read it. So I really liked it. I will probably read more for work. So the next book I have is Unravel Me by Tahara Mafi. This is the second book in the Shatter Me series. I think currently there are 5 books out, and there is a 6th book coming out sometime next year, and I love this series. I gave this book a 5 stars. This is my top favorite series. I'm after saying that with a few other series, but this one here for sure is my favorite series. And this just follows along with Juliet's journey to figuring out her powers after she had escaped from the reestablishment with Adam. So now they are in hiding with the rebels, and she's just trying to figure out how to control her powers and just find out more about herself and the powers, and also they're trying to figure out why Adam can't touch her skin. So they're trying to stay hidden while doing all this, but of course there's going to be some type of drama unfolding. So this is a great read. And then we have City of Fallen Angels by Cassandra Clare. This is book 4 in the Mortal Instruments. And yes, I do still have a copy of this because I can't remember if it was my last video or not, but I pulled out the entirety of my Mortal Instruments series saying that I was going to unhaul it. I do still have the books that I said I'm going to unhaul, but that is because I keep forgetting to bring them with me when I go out to grocery shopping, because I bring my books to the thrift store. And that being said, I did decide to keep the Night Circus because I can't remember their YouTube name, but someone had commented on my haul and unhaul video saying that I should give this another try because it is really good. And I did listen to the audiobook earlier this year or late last year, I can't remember, and I just weren't really into the audiobook and I don't really remember much about it, but I decided that I will go ahead and try to reread this without listening to the audiobook. I am going to try to do a physical read of it, so hopefully I will like it because I love Caraval and this has been compared to Caraval, so I do want to give it a chance. Anyways, so this is a dual perspective novel or book, and it follows along both Clary and her best friend Simon. The war is over, they're back in New York, and they just think that everything is at peace for now, at last, but stuff happens, things unfold, they have to deal with that. The shadow hunters have to deal with everything that's going on, and it's just like chaos at some point. Now I will say I did enjoy this book more than any of the others in this series, but not enough to keep the whole series. Her writing does get better with books. That's why you can't see it on my shelf, but that is why that I've decided to keep the Infernal Devices and get rid of this series. And then getting into audiobooks, The first audiobook I have is Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. This is book 4 in the Harry Potter series. I'm slowly working my way through these books. Now, this wasn't initially in my April TBR, but I have forgot to suspend my hold on Libby, so I managed to squeeze it in at the end of April. And this is the 4th year for Harry at Hogwarts. So there's a Triwizard tournament in this book, so that's what it makes it really interesting. It's where 2 other wizarding schools besides Hogwarts come together to play an assortment of challenges and games to try and win the Triwizard Cup. Now, I think it's supposed to be like only 3 players for it, like 1 student per wizarding school. There is a certain age limit. Anything below like 16 or 17 we're not allowed to enter, but Harry somehow managed to get his name into the cup, not by his doing. He doesn't know how it got there, and his name is drawn after the 3 players were already chosen. His name just flew out of the cup anyways, and he has to participate because it's in the rules that any names being drawn must participate in the Triwizard tournament. So it follows along his challenges and struggles with that, as well as there's also mysteries that he's trying to solve for himself. It's always chaos and a whirlwind for Harry Potter, but he manages to survive it all. The next audiobook that I listened to was The Giver by Lois Lowry. I gave that a 4 stars. Now, I quite enjoyed The Giver more than what I thought I were going to be. I went in thinking like, oh, it's just going to be like a simple read. It's not going to really grasp my attention all that much. Like, I was just thinking like it's going to be an okay book. That's what I thought. But I really enjoyed it more than I thought I would. The world was a little more complex than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be like a little simple read, but it wasn't. It was basically about 12-year-old Jonas lives in a world where he thinks is like an ideal and perfect world until he gets given his life assignment, which is the receiver, where he receives like everyone's like memories. That's where he starts to understand the dark secrets of his community and just trying to figure out how he can change things. He wants to change things, so it just follows along his journey of figuring things out, that this is how it's actually been for the past however many years and not what you were told growing up. And the last audiobook I read, which is also from Libby, I hadn't realized that I was going to get it so soon. So it was another book that I squeezed in at the very end of April, and this was Circe by Madeline Miller, and I gave this 3.5 stars. 3 or 3.5 stars. I love mythology, but for some reason I can never really get into mythology novels and like actually reading them. I'm not sure why. I don't understand why, because I love anything to do with mythology and urban legends and Greek gods and all that stuff. Like, I quite enjoy reading up on information about that stuff, but for some reason reading novels, it just doesn't really grasp my attention as much. But I still did enjoy this book. So this follows along Circe, where in the beginning she thinks, and everyone, like all the gods and other people in their family, they just think that she doesn't have any type of powers. She's just a daughter of a god. But an event happens where it upsets her, and her true powers do come forward, and it ends up being that she is able to do witchcraft. And I think it was Zeus who banished her because he was a little threatened by her powers. So she is banished to a deserted island, and that is where she hones in on her abilities, because she is alone. She really has all the time in the world to really strengthen them. But then as the story unfolds, some things comes up where she has to choose between, like in the end she has to choose between like where she was born with the gods or to be with the mortals who she has come to love. It was an interesting read. I will give it that. It was nice. So that is everything that I read for the month of April. Hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below if you like this, if you have any other videos suggestions, and I'll see you next time.